Hi, this is Anthony, parent of Parent and Win LLP, and we have a very special webinar for you today. It's a little bit different. Today, what we're going to be talking about is some improvements we would like the IRS to make to its offshore procedures. And the reason why we're doing this is because the IRS actually asked us, well, not us, but the general public, to give some feedback. And, well, we have a pretty big caseload, and we thought we could give them the most amount of help. Across from me, I have Robert Hansen, who is one of our OVDP attorneys, along with Michelle Wynn, my partner here at Parent and Win. And so if we can go to the our first slide, is IRS Offshore Voluntary Disclosure Programs and Procedures Suggestions for Improvement. And that is really the catchiest title we could come up with it. And I hope you appreciate all the hard work our focus group put into that. And now if you can go to the next slide is, all right, fantastic. Now who this is for, again, this is for the IRS. They asked for it. We also sent them along letters, which actually won't be nearly as entertaining as this podcast or broadcast. This is also for offshore practitioners who are wondering, why is this process so difficult, so lengthy? And also people maybe thinking of dipping their toe into it, just to give you an idea of what's really involved in getting these cases to process and having clients who aren't looking to jump off a bridge. It's also for those taxpayers who want a deeper understanding of what this entire procedure is about, why it's not going to take 3 weeks.
No.
No. Would you say that, Michelle Wynn?
It never takes 3 weeks.
How about 4 weeks?
No.
No.
Sorry.
I've had people ask for that.
Yeah.
For 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And
It's just not possible.
It's just not going to be possible. And I think when we go through, and we're just really what we're going to be talking about today is just these are the initial forms. This isn't even when people are reviewing it. This is for really the beginning of the process, and that's all that the IRS asked here. So that's what we're going to be talking today. It's not even from start to finish. If you could go to, I guess, the fifth slide. Yeah, that's the thanks, Chen. So here we're going to be suggesting realistic form improvements to the OVDP. We're not going to be talking about how horrible this entire process is. We're not going to be offering any commentary on worldwide taxation by the U.S. Even though we are the only country in the world that does it. We're not going to be talking about FATCA, even though the only country it doesn't apply in is the U.S. of A. I mean, you could comment on that, but we just won't.
Right.
We're gonna stay away from that. We're going to be talking about the full offshore voluntary disclosure program, and we're going to be talking about, we have some streamlined programs. What are the two different types of streamlined programs?
The streamlined domestic program and the streamlined foreign program, or procedures, I should say. Streamlined offshore procedures and the streamlined domestic I am messing this up now.
That's all right. Well,
I say SDOP all the time. And
you say SDOP all the time, and you forget what the words even mean by this point.
You don't appreciate what you have until it's gone.
So we're going to be talking about the streamlined foreign offshore procedures.
And the streamlined domestic offshore procedures.
Right. And I mean, it didn't crack us up when it came out, when these came out in June of 2014, where you say, wait a second, you're having a streamlined foreign offshore procedure and a streamlined domestic offshore procedure when everything is for offshore accounts. And I guess the foreign and domestic describes where the taxpayer resides. And again, we're not going to talk about any of the fairness of this, right? And let me just make sure I didn't miss anything else in our... Oh, okay. If you go to slide 3, we're just going out of order there a little bit, just to challenge us. Look at that. Wow, you are talented. So we're doing this to reduce some costs, because there's a lot of costs to streamline, right?
Yeah.
People are usually somewhat surprised when we tell them what it is going to charge for us to do even a streamlined disclosure, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Some of the other things, too, is to encourage clarity. We see the forms...
Well, really, right now, the way it's written, it would be difficult for a person to represent themselves and do an adequate job. So the more clarity the IRS can have in the forms, the better professionals can handle cases, and the better the individual taxpayers who really do have a simple issue, or who maybe are accountants or familiar with the tax laws can handle it themselves.
All right, fantastic. And we'll hopefully reduce delays. And I think, Michelle, we're going to get to some of the specific examples of sort of how things conflict directly with each other.
Yes, oftentimes there are errors on the forms that don't really align with what the program terms say they should be.
And so we'll go over those and how the IRS can offer that clarification. We also want to help eliminate errors, right? There's going to be a lot of errors in these, and we see them from other tax professionals, right? And some of these errors are actually easy to understand because the forms aren't exactly clear.
If you're not doing it every day, it's harder to know what to expect.
And so hopefully we can make this uncomfortable process a lot better. And really, I hope that people who are going to be watching this are people at the IRS so that they can understand what we're dealing with.
Right.
Why these forms are taking a little bit longer than they think they should, and some of the specific difficulties we have in getting things to them. And so a little bit of understanding, I think, can help everybody out.